Story 1. The man at the window. It started with something small. A woman named Claire noticed a man lingering outside her apartment building every few nights. At first, she brushed it off. Maybe he lived nearby. Maybe he was just passing through. But then, she realized he was always there when she got home. Same spot, same silent stare. He never spoke, never moved closer, just watched. Weeks went by, and the man's presence grew bolder. Claire began finding small notes slipped under her door, always written in the same shaky handwriting. "I see you." Sometimes, they'd be waiting in her mailbox. Other times, tucked into the windshield wiper of her car. She reported it to the police, but without proof of a direct threat, there was little they could do. Each night, the figure returned. Closer now, sometimes standing at the edge of the parking lot, staring up at her window. Claire started sleeping with her blinds shut tight, but she swore she could feel his eyes on her, even through the walls. One night, she woke to the sound of her phone buzzing on the nightstand. An unknown number lit up the screen. The message read, "Nice pajamas." She froze. Her curtains were drawn. Her doors were locked. Yet someone, somewhere, was watching her at that exact moment. By the time police arrived, the man was gone. He never came back after that night, but Claire never again felt safe in her own home. The fear stayed long after he vanished. Story 2. The co-worker Emily worked in an office where everyone knew each other, or at least she thought they did. A new co-worker, Daniel, seemed polite at first. He'd bring her coffee, compliment her outfits, laugh a little too hard at her jokes. It all seemed harmless, until she started noticing him outside of work. At the grocery store, on her jogging route, sitting in the same cafe she went to every morning, always just a few tables away. At first, she thought it was coincidence. But then he began leaving little gifts on her desk. A flower. A framed photo of her he claimed he snapped at the office party. One morning, she found a note inside her purse that read, "You looked beautiful sleeping last night." Her blood ran cold. He wasn't just watching her in public. He had been inside her home. Emily installed cameras, but he always found ways to slip past them. One recording caught his voice, whispering her name outside her bedroom door. When she confronted him at work, he smiled and said, "I just want to take care of you." She filed restraining orders, but every time she turned a corner, she expected to see him there. And sometimes, she did. Eventually, Daniel was arrested after breaking into her apartment while she slept. But Emily says she still checks her closets, under her bed, every single night, because she knows how long he went unnoticed before, and how easily someone else could be waiting now. Story 3. The neighbor Michael thought moving into a quiet suburban neighborhood would mean peace and safety. For the first few months, it was perfect, until his next-door neighbor, a man named Carl, began showing an unsettling interest in him. At first, it was just questions. Where did Michael work? What time did he leave for his job? Did he live alone? Casual chatter that quickly turned invasive. Soon, Carl started appearing wherever Michael went. When Michael mowed his lawn, Carl was suddenly outside trimming hedges. When Michael took out his trash at night, Carl was standing in the driveway, staring. Michael would catch glimpses of him through the blinds, a face glowing pale in the moonlight, standing motionless in the yard, watching his every move. Then came the notes. Michael began finding scraps of paper tucked under his doormat. "I hear you walking at night. You shouldn't close your curtains. I can't see you." One morning, he woke up to find muddy footprints on his kitchen floor. His back door had been unlocked, though he swore he locked it the night before. He set up a camera, and what he captured made his blood run cold. At 3 a.m., Carl slipped inside his house with a spare key he must have stolen, wandering from room to room, pausing at the foot of Michael's bed for nearly 20 minutes before silently leaving. Police arrested Carl, but even after the locks were changed and the neighbor was gone, Michael said the silence of his house never felt empty again. It felt watched. Story 4. The stranger on the train. Sarah's story began on a late-night train ride home. A man sat across from her, silent, but his eyes never left her face. She tried to ignore him, but when she got off at a stop, She heard footsteps behind her. The man followed her all the way to her apartment door before disappearing into the shadows. She told herself it was nothing, just nerves, until the next morning, when she found a folded piece of paper slipped under her door. It read, "I like your red scarf." She had been wearing it the night before. Days turned into weeks, and the man was everywhere. Always at a distance, never speaking, but always watching. She began seeing him at the grocery store, outside her office, across the street from her building. He'd tilt his head and smile whenever their eyes met, but never approach. The silence was worse than words. Then came the phone calls. No one on the other end, just breathing. Heavy, deliberate breathing. One night, as Sarah locked her front door, her phone buzzed. A photo appeared on the screen, taken from inside her apartment, showing her sitting on the couch, watching TV. Panic surged. She tore through every room, but no one was there. Police searched and found no signs of forced entry, no fingerprints, nothing. Just the chilling evidence that someone had been close enough to photograph her inside her own home. She moved cities soon after, changed her number, and left everything behind. But to this day, Sarah refuses to ride trains at night, because she knows, somewhere out there, he might still be watching. Stalkers are real. They aren't monsters from horror movies. They're people who smile at you on the street, sit beside you on the bus, wave from across the office. And sometimes, the scariest part isn't when you see them. It's when you don't.